Welcome back, everyone, to Dream Building 101. I am your host, Dr. Ebony Potts. I am also the author of Next Exit, Your Destiny, taking the road towards the life of your dreams. On this channel, we speak with individuals that are on different paths, and the objective is to give you clear and concise, concrete examples of individuals that perhaps have been through some of the things that you are going through, or that can give you some advice to help you along your path to living your best life. So today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Mr. Pastor Raymond Williams. How you doing today, sir?
I am doing very, very well, ma'am. Very well, Mrs. Potts. How are you today?
I am doing great, doing great. So we're going to get right into the interview. Why don't you tell the people, I've already told them that you're a pastor, but why don't you tell the people a little bit more about yourself, who you are, and what you do?
Wow, that's interesting. First of all, I want to just say thank you for the opportunity to be on your platform. I don't take it lightly. I respect what you do. So a little bit about who I am. My name is Raymond Williams. I'm a pastor. I'm a leader in the community and abroad. I'm also the director of the FBCM Fellowship here in Tampa. Well, the fellowship spreads beyond Tampa, but it's based in Tampa, Florida. And that's the acronym is for the Fellowship of Bible-Centered Ministries. That piece, I pastor a church here in Tampa, Forbidden to Fail. I've been pastoring 16 years now. I absolutely love what I do. It's a phenomenal opportunity to be called by God to do something of this nature. Let's see, I'm also a recent author. I'm working on publishing at this point my first book. And so I'm really looking forward to releasing that. The book is entitled Fighting Through Difficult Seasons. Let's see, I'm also a financial mentor and a marriage mentor. My wife and I love marriage. We're passionate about marriage and watching married couples grow and excel and become one and rekindle the fire within their marriage. Again, financial mentor. My wife and I are debt free. So we encourage people to get out of debt, to stay out of debt and to, be frugal with what they have and so they can do more with it. And so that's a little bit about who I am. Oh, and also we have 3 beautiful children and 3 beautiful grandchildren.
How did you become I don't want to call you a jack of all trades, but how did you end up where you are? Tell us a little bit about the path to becoming who we see today, and how did you get there after you graduated? How did you end up where you are at this time?
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting thing. So I was, wow, my life has been interesting to say the least. I am probably the least likely person to be where I am. I never dreamt that my life would, I always thought and knew in the back of my mind I was gonna either end up deceased early in life or in prison doing a lot of prison time. Involved in and out of gangs as a teenager, in and out of trouble with the law. After getting saved and giving my life to Christ and making a lot of tremendous changes in my life, I started understanding the importance of education. So I began to educate myself, take courses, get all the trainings that I needed in various areas, and get around smart people who were a lot smarter than me, people who could educate me in areas that I needed to be educated. And life took off from there. I took some courses in theology, became an assistant chaplain at Hillsborough Correctional Institution for 3.5 years. And from there, I worked with juvenile delinquents. So I started working with children and with youth. And from there, I ended up in the school system, filtered through the school system and was educated there to be a behavior specialist. And I was behavior specialist for 6 years in the Hillsborough County school system. And that worked out wonderful. And from there, I transitioned into full-time ministry.
Tell us about a challenge, and it sounds like you had quite a few, but tell us about a challenge you faced along your path, turn back moment, if you will. How did you overcome it? And what did you learn from the experience?
Sick of sitting at your job, daydreaming about the life that you would have if you'd won that big jackpot? Do you want to design a life for yourself that you don't need to take a vacation from? Do you have a vision for your life that you just don't know how to make a reality? Next Exit Your Destiny is a witty, comical, yet straightforward guide that gives you common sense, easy to follow steps to make the life you dream of the life that you live. Get off of Unfulfilled Street, Unhappy Way, and Sunday Night Blues Boulevard and take the next exit towards your destiny today.
I think one of the biggest challenges, the biggest challenge I have had as a man, was when my daughter got pregnant with her first child, with my grandson. That was probably the biggest challenge I had ever had in my entire life. There's a couple reasons behind that. So when my daughter was pregnant, when she got pregnant with my grandson, I was a pastor at the time. My daughter was not married. My daughter was also my lead musician. So you can kind of see some of the challenges. And I made it clear to my church family when we first started ministry that I would never put my family in a position where they would have to play some superficial role. You know, they're human. My children make mistakes just like everyone else's children. And my church has always been really loving and acceptive to that. The challenge that I had was that God and I was starting to face off, if you will, because I was really upset and bitter and angry, not necessarily because she was pregnant, but I was angry and bitter, and I was trying to find a way through that because for the first time in my life, I had lost total control. And I think that was the beginning of my real relationship with God, where he was letting me know, son, you're nowhere near in control as you think you are. And so that was a challenge for me to let him be in control of this and know that it's going to be okay. And so God used my grandson to teach me a lesson about him being in control.
I think that's a lesson I myself have had to struggle with. And I'm sure that many people who are listening have had that. And I think it's a lesson that I know for me personally, I've had to kind of be taught at multiple times. I remember being a child, listening to Bible stories and wondering to myself, again, a child, not having been through quite much, at that time, just like, man, if God told these people to do X, Y, Z, why don't they just do it? Like, what's wrong with these people? And then as I grew and became an adult,
someone else.
right. 5-7-year-old, 8-year-old, 10-year-old me, like, what's wrong with them? I mean, if God tells me to do something, I'll just do it. Oh my goodness. Wow. I know that everybody's laughing at that one because we've all had those experiences, and I've had to be taught to release, multiple times, because, you get the lesson and you learn for a minute and you're like, okay, I got this. And then, God will test you again. And it's like, okay, let's see if you really got it. And then you have to kind of go back to it like, oh yeah, you have those moments. So I definitely understand. Let's switch gears a bit. What do you love about what you do currently? And what's the most challenging aspect of what you do?
I think both what I love and what is probably the most challenging are the same things. So I absolutely love the people aspect about what I do. But I think also it is the people aspect.
I already knew the answer. I knew the answer. As soon as you said that, I knew the answer.
It's the people aspect of what I do that's the most challenging. I love people. I have this insatiable, deep desire to encourage, to motivate, to empower, to build people, especially broken people. So I've had to learn over the years not to take things that people do personal. That when people do certain things or behave a certain way towards me, I've had to learn that it's not an indictment on my character of who I really am. It's just where they are. I've had to learn over the years that I'm not God. I can't fix everybody. I'm not called to carry people's burdens. I'm called to help them transition them burdens to the Lord and let him figure that stuff out. And so that's been a challenge for me.
That lesson it very much mirrors a conversation that, and multiple conversations that my husband and I have had. He has a tendency to, again, and I think that that's also a man trait, just my personal opinion. I think that that's a source, or can be a source, of miscommunication between men and women, especially in couples, because I think a really great tool when you're having a discussion with anyone is when someone comes to you and they're talking to you about an issue, whether it's a personal issue or a job issue. One of the things that I've recently kind of put in my own toolbox is, okay, are we looking for solutions or are we venting? So I think that that's a great thing to kind of put in anybody's toolbox, especially if you're in a relationship, man and woman relationship, relationship with one another, personal relationship, because I think men automatically have a tendency, especially when we're talking about their significant other, to want to fix it. They don't necessarily want to hear all of the ins and outs of it. You give them information and like, okay, great, my woman or my wife or whoever, she's upset. Let me fix it, and, you can't always fix, especially grown-up issues. It's not as simple as, fixing a toy or, things of that nature. So I think that's a very important lesson for everyone, because people are where they are. You meet people where they are, and sometimes you can carry them to the next step or give them information to help them get to the next step. But it's really up to them to be able to take that next step. And it also is very important that individual has learned the lessons to be able to receive what you're saying. This is the discussion my husband and I have had, because, he'll, talk to someone and he's just like, and again, my background is education. So my background in watching this over and over is a little different than his, because he's in a completely different industry. But it's just like, if you're teaching someone, you're trying to teach someone multiplication, but they don't know how to add. They've not received those precursor lessons to understand what you're giving them. And even as simple as it sounds, they're not there yet, and you can repeat it in 25 different ways, but until they've gotten the pieces, they're not going to be able to take that next step. And I've experienced it myself, Right, because, there's one day, and I know all of us as adults have experienced this, there's one day where something that you've heard 45 different times, your mama told you, your dad told you, your cousin told you, and then one day it just clicks. You've heard it before. It's not that person that told you that particular day said it any differently than all of the other times you've heard it. You've had the precursor lessons, you've been through XYZ, where finally it makes sense.
But I believe that God has just chosen for me the greatest female on the planet. And I get to do this. I get to do what I do with her all day long. And that is an incredible, because the reason it's so incredible to me is because I have so many colleagues and I know people who can't say that. The light that I see in your eyes when you talk about your husband, many people can't say that. They don't have that light. And so as you're talking about you and your husband and him being so polar opposite, you're just reminding me of how I'm like, man, why do these women have to have this trait? Because it's like you guys are just so smart and we just struggle with trying to figure it out. And you all are like, well, yeah, but they're not just quite ready yet. So they're not there yet. We're like, yeah, but they need to get there, right? But that's just our personality, I guess.
Well, I mean, yin and yang, man and women, God knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing when he created both of us. And there are things that in my husband that I've definitely learned about life and about myself, because we're really good at mirroring one another when you're with the right person. Yeah. And I thank God for that. And I'm obviously glad that you and your wife are experiencing the same. So that's definitely a blessing. Definitely helps bring out the best in you. So tell us a recent life lesson, because hopefully we're all in the business of learning daily, and even if you're trying not to, the Lord will help you to learn. That you learned or had to grapple with within the last 2 or 3 years that you could share with people that can probably help encourage them or help them to get a little further along their path?
I've had several major, I think, life lessons. My biological parents and I have never really had a close relationship. You know, the streets raised me, if you will, when I was younger. I believe that my biological mother did her best with what she had to work with, which was not a whole lot, but I think it's what she had to work with. Our relationship was always strained. And so I think both her and I experienced a lot of pain. So I believe she experienced a lot of pain in her upbringing and as she grew. And so as she grew older, I believe she held on to a lot of that pain. I think I was the recipient of that pain, which caused me a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, and I carried it for many years. My biological father and I, we met a few times, we spent a little bit of time together, but we've never had a close relationship. So the biggest crossroad, if you will, that I've had to cross in the last few years, have to totally release my biological mother from any pain that I was experiencing, to totally forgive, to totally let it go, and to genuinely and compassionately love her. And I had to totally release my selfishness and realize that she gave what she could give. And it's selfish of me to expect anything more from her. Because I can't expect her to give something that she legitimately does not have the capacity to give. Then at the same time, in the same year, which was 2019, I had to then eulogize my biological father, who I deeply desired and longed for a relationship with. Now I am having to completely let go of the person that I have created in my heart as a father that would someday walk through the door. I think what's happening now in my life is I'm starting to go through the grief of that. But I don't know if I was actually or am actually grieving the person that I kissed and said, hey, goodbye, and then walked away, or if I'm actually grieving the person that was in my heart that I knew someday would come in. Because now I have to completely accept that will never happen. I have been walking through this journey in my life for a while, and it has been very difficult at times, but it's very rewarding because I'm really starting to learn who Raymond is. I'm starting to value Raymond even more and accept who I am.
Expectations of people, especially those that are close to us, I can definitely relate. You have expectations of family members and friends, and those expectations come, and my husband and I again have had this conversation as well. The things that I expect of a mother, the things I expect of a father, the things I expect of a friend are because of the experiences that I personally have had. However, that does not mean that when friend A meets me, that they've had those same exact experiences and that my expectations of a friend match up with their expectations of a friend.
That's right.
And when they don't, of course, that can cause conflict, and you have to make the decision as to whether does this person meet 75, 80% of what it is that you are asking. Now, obviously you can't do that with a parent, but with the, other types of relationships. And is it worth continuing on with this individual? Is what you want with this person worth continuing to try to build and meet somewhere in the middle of your expectations and their expectations, and perhaps to build a relationship with that individual? So that's a life lesson that can again transcend, mother, daughter, father, friend, significant other relationships. And, you have to kind of reflect on yourself and why you have certain thought processes about what it is that you want out of other individuals. And sometimes it has to do with that individual and you have to release them because sometimes they can be so toxic to whatever it is you have going on that, you have to bless them and send them on their way. And sometimes it's you. If you could tell someone out there who may be just getting on their path towards their best life, what would you say to them?
To just go for it. Just go for it. Tackle your dreams, go after your goals, and press beyond the fear. Fear stopped me from receiving in earlier years of my walk with God and even recent years. Fear stopped me from receiving a lot of great opportunities. Fear. Maybe you'll have to start with an online platform that's not necessarily college-based. Maybe you'll just take a certificate course that's going to last you a couple of nights or a couple of weeks, and you get a certificate, and now your esteem is up there. And you say, hey, you know what? I can do this. You do what you have to do and find a way. Push past every excuse. Don't allow fear to stop you from achieving the things that are in your heart to achieve.
Well, where can anyone who is watching get in contact with you? What's your web address, the address to your church, any of that you would like to share with us?
So sure. So the address to our church is 1511 East Fowler Avenue, Suite J. We're located in Tampa, Florida. The zip code is 33612. You can reach me. I have a Facebook live broadcast every single Thursday night at 8:30. Entitled Inspiring Transformation. It's phenomenal. You can meet us there every Thursday. Again, that's 8:30 p.m. We're there live, and God's doing some tremendous things there and encouraging and reaching out to the masses. So that's how you can reach me. Thank you.
I hope that God continues to keep you so that you can continue to be an inspiration to those in the community. So thank you again for the opportunity to interview you today, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity to be on your platform. Thank you for the work, the great things that you are doing. I've watched the interviews that you've done with people, and you're changing lives, because if we don't take this lightly and we really allow God to work through you in our lives, I really believe our ministries, our businesses, our companies, our families, everything that we do is going to become so much better. So thank you. I wish you the best of God's blessing. I speak prosperity over your life. I speak greatness over your life. And anything that my wife and I can do for you, to help you, to support you, to bless you, please don't hesitate. Let us know.
Well, I appreciate it. And I wish nothing but the best for you and your wife. And like I said, you just let me know when you want to have that conversation. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully we can be a blessing to one another as you have already been to me. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching yet again. And again, if you like what you see, go ahead and hit subscribe, like, and share this video. And we'll see you on the next episode of Dream Building 101. Don't forget to pick up your copy of Next Exit, Your Destiny, Taking the Road Towards the Life of Your Dreams. Have a wonderful day, and God bless everybody.